Welcome to another AUG blog audio post located at augforums.com. That's augforums.com. You can find the specific audio post at augforums.com/audio post 18. That's audio post and the number 18. This is your host, Tim Rodman, coming to you live on Tuesday, June 9th, 2020 from Columbus, Ohio. And in this audio post, we've got a conversation about the Acumatica marketplace with Christian Lindberg. And Christian, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi Tim, great to be with you here this evening. Greetings from Seattle, where I'm broadcasting from. As you mentioned, my name is Christian Lindberg. I'm the VP of Partner Solutions here at I've been with Acumatica now well over 7 years, and it's been a true pleasure and joy. And my main focus here has been on the ISVs and OEM partners worldwide that are bringing, innovations, extending Acumatica into either specific industries, verticals, or just have great complementary solutions. So that's what we're going to have a good talk about here today.
When it comes to the Acumatica marketplace, I think you're the person to talk to. One of the best people on the planet, probably, who could be talking about this.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, the marketplace has been a key aspect of what we do with our ISVs, as I mentioned, and by the way, our bars as well. We'll see a steady growing listing. We'll see a steady growing listings from our bars as well. So when I started like 7 years ago, we just had a simple page, and that has truly evolved over the years, and now we have well over 200 listings on the marketplace. So it's been a steady growth with also the growth of the ecosystem of partners. And the reason why the marketplace is such a key aspect is simply because it gives us digital presence. It gives the partners a digital presence with Acumatica, and truly the audience for it, users, customers, and prospects of Acumatica will know where to look for new functionalities to enhance, to think about sort of the marketplace presence as of today.
And I'm curious, you being at Acumatica for 7 years, which is a long time in Acumatica years, you've seen a lot transpire there. And I'm curious, what you're now calling the Acumatica marketplace, was this a plan 7 years ago that has been executed on, or was it something that just sort of grew organically? How did it get to the point where it is today, would you say?
Meaning clearly from the very beginning, we wanted to have a presence for our partners to exhibit their offerings to the audience of customers. There has been an evolution to it because one thing is how you deal with 10 or tens of partner listings to now today more than several hundred, and in the future very likely growing to past 1,000 different listings. So that's why we have invested heavily in enhancing the infrastructure to it. Actually, an infrastructure I'm personally very, very proud of, because one thing is what you see on acumatica.com/marketplace, which is nice polished pages, which is very well aligned with the all look and feel of Acumatica. But behind the scene, there is a very strong infrastructure that is leveraging the Acumatica solution we use internally here at Acumatica. Obviously, we eat our own dog food, so to speak, and clearly we use Acumatica internally. You will see another aspect of Acumatica inside of the partner portal. So when you think about it, it's almost like a triangle where you have Acumatica for internal usage, you have Acumatica for partner portal usage, and then we have Acumatica.com for any public consumption. Everything is connected now. That means partners can go into the partner portal. They can build up their listing, their profile in all the details they want. They can attach different resources like videos and data sheets, all the information that's required to explain their offering. This will go through a validation process within Acumatica. We have people validating the technologies. We have people looking into customer references. And we are generally also looking into sort of language and making sure it all aligns. And that is part of the all-up validation process. And when the approval is done, it's now going to surface up on Acumatica.com marketplace. So everything is connected, and as I said in the beginning, it's all building on Acumatica itself, which is actually very cool. That's not how it was in the very beginning, in the early days, so to speak. It was just static pages that was all handled and maintained manually. Obviously, with the strong growth we've seen, that's not possible, and that's why we just here a couple of months ago actually launched the self-serve model where partners can now go in and maintain and enrich and edit the content. And just to look a little bit ahead into sort of the future, we are literally just about to press the button for the next edition, or about to press the button for the next edition or evolution of the marketplace, which now will include customer ratings and reviews. So if you think about the marketplace, it's all meant to provide information to the users or future users of Acumatica on what they can do. And clearly, we do a lot to validate the particular solutions, but I feel nothing is more powerful than actually get the feedback, hear the learnings from similar users that have already been through the use of that particular solution. So that's a very natural evolution that we are adding now with the customer ratings and reviews.
Very interesting. I actually didn't realize it was as intelligent as it is now. When you look at it, you could just assume it's static pages and a lot of the actual Acumatica application to serve up that content. Wow, that's pretty cool.
You could almost say it's one of the larger integrations we have in place here that our team has built over the past many months and years. So but you actually are hitting another good point there. It almost seems like static, which obviously it follows a particular template. And listings do get a static URL, so you can actually go and find listings not only just on the Acumatica.com itself, but if you go to search engines like Google and Bing, they are very likely to pick up these listings. And I encourage everyone to test it out and just go and search directly, and you'll very likely be pointed to an Acumatica marketplace listing. To test it out and just go and search directly, and you'll very likely be pointed to an Acumatica marketplace listing.
Yeah, I've definitely found that same thing. I Google for something, and many times it takes me to one of those listings. So you can tell it's definitely doing a good job of hitting Google there. Right. I'm curious on the main. If I go to the main page, and I'll put a link to this in the audio post notes. But Acumatica.com/marketplace. I look there on the front page. I see a few different color-coded bullets. Maybe you can walk us through these. Starting with, first one I see is a green one. It says customer validated. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what that means.
Yeah. Good call out there, Tim. The marketplace itself and obviously all the content is ultimately designed to inspire confidence with And that's why we, from the very beginning, had a certification process tied into solutions listed on the marketplace. So whenever our ISVs or partners in general are enrolled, so here's actually a prerequisite we perhaps should just mention briefly, that all partners listed on the marketplace they are enrolled in what we call ADN, Acumatica Developer Network. So we have a formal arrangement with them. We know who to call, so to speak, if something happens. We have a formalized relationship. In addition to that, we also have a specific certification process, and we are working closely with our engineering team that's building Acumatica. They are also defining the requirements for solutions that either built on the Acumatica XRP requirements, for solutions that either built on the Acumatica XRP platform, the same technology we use to build Acumatica modules, or they go through the APIs that we make available throughout the entire product. But disregarding whatever they develop, we will still have validation requirements, criteria defined. And that's what we use throughout the technical validation process. And that will give you, or that would show as certified for Acumatica. That's the medallion you get from passing that certification. And just a side note, this is specific.
Is that probably the orange one that you're talking about, the certified application badge that you see?
That is correct, certified for Acumatica. And that's specific to a version, right? So every new version, remember, in addition to that, and that's typically the next step, is that we have customers that we reach out to and we ask them for their feedback and get a response. And if they're positive around the solution use, and happy with the partner associated with it, they'll get the next medallion, the validation. That's been a manual process up until now, and we are going to enrich that with, just as I mentioned, the ratings reviews. So you could say from just having a simple medallion customer validated, we can now expand on it as a solution, and as partners get more and more customers and users and usage, we feel it's really important to get their voice through and hear all the good experiences they have from using that particular solution.
Yeah, that's cool. That new feature you'll be adding in, I'm curious on that, just a sidebar on that for a second. When people will be able to submit their own reviews, will there be, or maybe you don't know yet, but you think there'll be a login process for them, or just anyone can add a comment? Do you know how that's going to turn out?
Yep. Here again, we make good use of Acumatica itself. So there will literally be a button on the solution where anybody can push the I want to submit a review, but they will then be taken to the customer portal of Acumatica. So just like we have a partner portal, we also have a customer portal. And upon login through that, they now have the chance to provide a review of the solution that they are using, which we know sort of in the solution, and we will welcome their feedback on it.
Very interesting. Yeah, so you don't just know their email, you know a lot more since they're going into the customer portal. I like that. It's very clever.
Yeah, this is not eBay, right? This is not Amazon, small things we are working with here today. This is business applications. This is solutions, sometimes mission critical solutions. We want to make sure that not only it's all great solutions, but we also want to make sure the feedback that's coming is really of high quality and obviously valid for the use that they have.
That's pretty cool. We're looking forward to seeing that. So
yeah,
then there's another badge on there. This one's actually the one I still have the most questions about, and it's the blue So then there's another badge on there. This one's actually, well, the one I still have the most questions about, and it's the blue one called Fulfilled by Acumatica. And I guess my first question on that is, if it says Fulfilled by Acumatica, does that mean I'm actually signing a contract directly with Acumatica? And I guess that's my first question. Is it how does Acumatica really fulfill one of those ISV solutions?
Right. Yeah. Fulfilled by Acumatica is sort of the latest evolution. We added the latest capabilities here like a year ago. What it basically, well, everybody should know that Acumatica, we don't sell direct. It's all through our VARs, through our resellers, right? So what it ultimately means is that you will get your Acumatica solution today, meaning through your reseller. The reseller, however, will just interact with Acumatica in a similar way to how they get the Acumatica modules today. They don't have to work separately with one or multiple ISVs. So what we have done here is just to make it easy for obviously the customer, the user of Acumatica, to identify the particular solution, and then for their particular partner of record, their reseller, to license that directly from Acumatica. And we handle then the whole licensing and registration and so forth with the ISVs in the background.
And I assume that there could probably be a couple different ways it actually happens, but it sounds like for the majority of the cases, it would be the actual customer is signing an agreement with the VAR, the Acumatica VAR. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Then,
pretty much all users will go through their regular VAR engagement. It's a relationship, that has been built up typically over many years. So there's a high level of trust and relationship there that we want to make sure we preserve and ultimately make the whole partnership stronger.
That makes sense. The VAR is kind of the glue holding that together, and then you make it easier for the VAR as an authorized reseller to place that order, acting essentially as a conduit to licensing the ISV product on the end. But then I think another key component of that is not just getting the licenses, but also getting the support for that ISV product. And it sounds to me like that model is putting the VAR in the forefront so that they're not only selling it, but then they're also ideally supporting it as well.
Yeah, that's a typical approach where the VAR will be the center point for the user, for the customer, right? Everything is with and through the VAR. There will always be nuances, obviously, where in some cases it's very specialized handling, say, for instance, EDI, which can be quite challenging. And sometimes the VARs will direct the customer, the user, directly to the ISVs for that particular engagement or for that particular support. In some cases, really domain expertise required that sort of exceeds what the VARs will typically sign up to do, right? But in general, the VAR is the center point for the engagement for the users and customers.
I'm glad you brought up that scenario, because I think that's a scenario that does happen and I think confuses people sometimes. There's, as you mentioned, you've got a couple hundred at this point, hoping to get into the thousands. That marketplace is growing and growing, and a lot of people, rightly so, are very interested in Acumatica these days. So that list keeps growing, and there's no way a VAR can support all of those products. And so you do have the situation where a client of a particular VAR is interested in a solution that even has the Fulfilled by Acumatica label on it. But I think it's really at the VAR's discretion, I would assume there, whether they actually engage directly or whether they have the ISV engage directly on a case-by-case basis because of that domain expertise, I would assume.
Yeah, that is correct. Well put.
So in a sense, it's called fulfilled by Acumatica, but it's almost more fulfilled by VAR with help from Acumatica. I guess.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. It would just be too long on the website. So but I'm grateful for any simplifications that we can. Let's keep it simple.
Well, it's great to talk it through because I think what a lot of people want as an end customer is they want. I don't know why this is the saying, but the saying I've heard is the throat to choke. They want that one throat to choke. And especially when you involve an ISV solution with you go to the ERP solution, no, it's the ISV. And so, I like the idea of having the VAR be the glue to hold that together. And that makes sense. I think that's the closest thing you can find to a throat to choke when you're in an ISV situation. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Yeah, that's a key point, and I would say the key philosophy here at Acumatica. We want to empower our resellers, what we call the VARs, really to be the center point for the customers, be the entity that you could say take out the complexity, because even though that we are in the cloud, there's still complexity involved, right? And customers should be focused on what they do best, right? Serving their own customers, right? They don't want to get into the, you could say, system integrator of ERP and various systems. Want to get into the, you could say, system integrator of ERP and various systems that support that business. That's where they have the VAR that takes care of all of those integrations and connections and enrichments of the solution that's required to stay at the modern level which we are today. Just think about what's happened here in the past few months, where pretty much everything has been turned upside down for many companies out there. Although it is actually just spot on and front and center to what Acumatica has been delivering all time, right? Meaning you can use Acumatica from pretty much anywhere at any time on any device, right? So this is just a great opportunity now for really all our resellers that support customer Acumatica today, or moving them off some legacy product today and onto Acumatica tomorrow, so they can enjoy not only Acumatica but also all the enrichments that are coming from these ISVs and services providers out there. But that's where you could say, obviously, the various type of integration scenarios that optimize the business for the new, whatever the new normal looks like, is going to be so critical.
Yeah, and that journey, I think, like you point out, especially during these times, you experience the pain of your legacy solution a lot more. And that journey, I think, a lot of times starts off with just Acumatica, and then over time you begin to add some of these ISV products for specific situations. And I don't think either one of us maybe are in the best position to know this for sure, but I kind of think one thing we'll start to see more and more is with the VARs really being the glue that holds a lot of these solutions together, and with Acumatica being so strongly in favor of a strong partner channel, unlike some other ERP solutions. I could see that, like you brought up EDI, for example. You have VARs who maybe do a ton of EDI and some that just happen to get a couple clients doing EDI. I could see there being some coalitions of VARs, if you will, that they just can't be experts on everything in the Acumatica marketplace. And so you might start seeing a lot more collaboration between VARs, even though the client relationship might be one VAR representing Acumatica, but you might get some other ones involved with ISV products, I wonder, in the future, especially as that list grows.
Yeah, absolutely. To see, and that's actually already happening, a further specialization of the bars. It's no longer just meaning I can sell a solution in the cloud and it's a wonderful product and it's called Acumatica. Tell me what you need and I can tailor it for you, right? That's not the approach that brings you a lot of success nowadays. It is really about having a specialization that you can apply on top of it. For instance, in manufacturing, right? That you can really understand what goes on the shop floor, or you can speak the language of the entire manufacturing crew, right? Where they have their pain points, they have their KPIs, everything that they want to get out of the product. As soon as you have that vernacular ready, you are immediately a much better fit than if you have to learn it all from scratch and from the beginning. We've seen the same thing happen on the latest launch of the Acumatica e-commerce edition. We just launched a few months ago, where we now start to see a number of bars and resellers really taking on and learn about what it means to have a web presence and web shop, e-commerce, and everything that's surrounding it, right? Obviously, it's still with Acumatica as the back end, the whole fulfillment engine and everything around transactions still happen there. But having specializations within e-commerce is a whole new discipline. So again, I'll totally agree with what you said there in terms of specialization. You would see a lot more of that happening within the bars, and that will open up the opportunity for bars to collaborate, right? What I'm not good at, hey, my neighbor might be able to cover that.
That makes sense. Another question I had on the marketplace, I think it's interesting to hear what's going on in the back end. I didn't realize that, with what's actually feeding those pages. And it's really cool to hear the rating system that will be coming in the near future. I'm also curious, though, when I see the word marketplace, I guess my first thought is that I can actually purchase something there. Do you know if it doesn't sound like that's the capability currently. It's more of actually, I guess the way I look at it is, it's almost like the trade show floor at the summit, it's almost like the digital version of that right now. It's a way to be visible and officially on the Acumatica site with these different designations, whether you're certified or customer approved, fulfilled by Acumatica. Do you see this ever getting to the point where, the answer might be no, especially with the conversation we just had about the bars, but do you ever see it getting to the point where I actually purchase something from that website, that marketplace website?
Yeah, I think absolutely it can be part of the evolution. There are few steps before we're getting there. First and foremost, we need to improve on the infrastructure to handle all of this. Obviously, we want to increase the discoverability and visibility of the marketplace. Right now, we've just been referencing acumatica.com/marketplace, which is pretty much just a catalog, right? But if you go to some of the industry pages or some of the product pages, you will now see embedded listings from the marketplace that are relevant to that particular content you see there. So we will actually start to have emplacement of select marketplace listings throughout acumatica.com for greater visibility. Test we still need to figure out how to do is there a way to actually make something discoverable inside of Acumatica itself, which is something we are discussing and see where it would be relevant potentially to surface up marketplace listings inside of Acumatica for users to learn more about what they can do to enrich Acumatica. Next will be
interesting. So someday I might go to the help inside of the Acumatica application and search for help on credit card processing, and I might see some marketplace results together. Oh, very interesting with the other help article.
The next one is actually having downloadable bits and pieces. So Acumatica itself is very flexible, as you know, easy to handle extensions, as we call them, either customizations, larger modifications, or even modules, right? So typically, if you build a solution inside of Acumatica, it can all be packaged up as such an extension. And also here on this area is where we are doing tests today. Also download to test and try, right? So if you think about the click and try is something that needs to come before you can actually buy. And even if we manage to get to the point of buy, I still think it can be implemented in a way where we still honor and support the VAR involved, but facilitate that whole connection between capabilities, solutions in the marketplace, and the end user, where we give them opportunity to buy of some sort, but still keep the VAR in mind. Because again, as we talked about, going back to the one throat to choke, we want to support that connection. We want to help the VARs be successful with their customers and users leveraging Acumatica to the full extent, right? But don't think about, how we are all interacting with each other like we have done it the past 10 or 20 years or perhaps even longer. There is an evolution to it, and this is where we're really trying to be on the forefront of that.
And I like that you're taking it one step at a time. I think, to me, what it sounds like it could evolve into is like the app source store that Microsoft runs for their Dynamics products. I don't use those personally, so I don't know for sure, but when I browse out to their app source, it looks like you can actually buy products through there, or you can test drive them, or some of them are freebies you can download and connect. But yeah. I like that you're taking smaller steps towards that, because there's also a downside of that, in that it's just the Microsoft beast, and if it doesn't work, there is no throat to choke. You're on your own. And I think that's what Acumatica provides that, say, a Microsoft Dynamics doesn't provide as well. It's the stronger relationship, and piecing these, let's face it, when you have multiple products involved, no matter how certified they are, there's always going to be things that break or that don't do what you expect them to do. You can't just put two APIs together and have them talk beautifully. There's always that middle ground that has to translate things back and forth. And so having that relationship there is important, I think, not just for as it is now, but where you want to take those solutions in the future. And so I think that's really key, that you're keeping the VAR very involved in that process when it comes to the Acumatica marketplace.
Yeah, but I would almost call it a luxury, only because I happen to work at. Yeah, but I would almost call it a luxury, only because I happen to work at Microsoft Dynamics, like 13 years before I joined Acumatica. So I have been in this sort of interesting environment, having to figure out a way to please like 5 different products, where 4 of them are pretty much sort of competing on the same GL capabilities. But with Acumatica, we just have one product, right? It's just one. So that makes it super simple, and it's all so well integrated, and it's just one product. I mean, we don't have a separate CRM and a separate ERP, right? In Acumatica, it's just one and the same for those that use those 2 modules. And that makes it so much more simple for the users to leverage. Mission critical ERP, accounting, fulfillment, and everything that revolves around it, right? It's not just sometimes a word processor of some sort or a document management system as such, right? We have to be certain that everything comes with high quality, that, you know, someone that doesn't have the right skills can just download anything and test it out in a real environment. That can really cause huge troubles and disruption, and we want to help as far as we can, making sure it all's working well. That said, we are gonna enrich the marketplace with downloadables. So not only will we have ISV products and as you've seen listings from all our, not only will we have ISV products and as you've seen listings from all our partners, but here shortly, and it's coming here within the next few weeks actually, we will have downloadables from our own projects that we have done with Acumatica, and that could be something simple as reports, some additional screens that we have created through customization projects that we have been involved in, that we find very valuable for anyone to use. And so that means actually Acumatica ourselves will start put downloadables up on the marketplace. But again, here it is associated with the quality component, and we want to make sure it's something that's working well for everybody that want to test it out. Right.
It sounds like that is interesting. I've heard a lot of people ask for that, especially in the area of reports. There's got to be someone must have done this before. There's got to be some central repository. So that's cool to hear that that's coming soon. It almost sounds to me like a friendlier version of GitHub. Like I've been on GitHub and grabbed some what are just open source, unsupported solutions and tried them out. But it's really more of a developer type of a website. I don't know. Would you agree? It kind of sounds like a more more user-friendly version of GitHub.
Yeah, that is correct. GitHub is a wonderful place if you like code and want to test it out and perhaps enhance it, enrich it, and contribute back into the community, so to speak. So yeah, GitHub is a wonderful set, enrich it, and contribute back into the community, so to speak. So yeah. GitHub is a wonderful repository, but I doubt that a regular user, even super user within Acumatica instance is comfortable or have GitHub as one of their favorites. That's probably more where we see marketplaces is going to turn into the simplified way of learning about these enhancements and a easy and fast way to get hold of them and into their own Acumatica instance, so they can test it out. So it's meant to take out, you could say, some of the complexity that's typically associated with GitHub if you're not sort of a daily user of it.
And to me, it's not just having the nice blue button to download it from. And actually, the last audio post just last week I did with John Reed, we were talking about enterprise software communities, and we were talking about how these hackathons a lot of times create these very interesting solutions, and they might be 80% of the way there to being a viable production-ready product, and it might be the marketplace that takes these things from GitHub that are 70 to 80% of the way there and really makes them market-ready. It gives you that nice front end and also finds a way to monetize it, so that people, the developers are incentivized to continue supporting it. That last little gap, I think, could be huge, especially when you see all these cool things coming out of these hackathons.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a nice, you could say, translation or a nice gateway, so to speak, from sort of the original, or nice gateway, so to speak, from sort of the original code into something that's consumable. Perhaps we should just do a quick commercial if this is going to be live available. So anyone that really aspire to deeper level coding and learning about engaging Acumatica sort of on the API level, now is just a phenomenal opportunity right ahead of us, as we are just about to get ready for what's called the Virtual Developer Conference, which is literally coming up here in June 16 and 17. I don't know if you allow for links into your post, but we should perhaps have a post there. June, and I correct myself. June. Absolutely. June 17 and 18. Yeah, June 17 and 18.
I'll find that there's like a registration page. I think that you have to register, but it's free, and I'll drop that in there. Glad you brought that up. Yeah, that was John's point last week. He just wants to see, not just for Acumatica, but any product, ERP product, more getting together of developers and users, because good things happen when you do that. And sounds like the marketplace is stepping into that as well. I like to hear that. That's pretty cool.
I'll be the facilitator. Yep, a good facilitator on that.
Well, hey, Christian, I know we're coming up against the top of the hour. Anything else you want to bring up about the marketplace that we haven't covered, things that are coming, or anything else you'd like to highlight?
I think we've been pretty well around the whole setting there of the marketplace, both what happened in the past and now the bright future we are heading against. So I'm very happy, and I hope a lot more people will actually make benefits of the marketplace, and more importantly, make good use of their Acumatica in their daily business and get all the benefits they deserve.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on and giving us some cool coming tidbits, little inside tips there. Much appreciated.
Glad to be with you. Thanks so much, Tim.
All right. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next AUG blog audio post.